Welcome to Coffee Break. Thank you again for joining us in this series, Heart of the Home. This is episode 3. What does it mean to label? Well, a label is a name or description that is given to a person or a thing. It's a system that humans use to better understand our environment. We like to classify things. We classify animals, we classify planets, stars. Labeling is just a great way to understand things. But is it so effective when it comes to labeling people? It's one thing to have a classification based on fact or truth. If someone was from Germany, let's say, we would say they were German. That's fact. That's truth. That's no big deal. But labeling becomes very dangerous when we apply a description that is not based on facts or truth to someone. For example, I'll give you a label that was applied to me. My label was Kristen is bottom rung. Where did that come from, you might wonder? Well, I played the piano and I had a certain style of playing the piano. Someone else had a certain style of playing the piano, and someone else, another woman, had a certain style of playing the piano. So all three of us played the piano very well, but we just had different styles. But according to someone else, that wasn't good enough. And so he had to classify us. So, according to him, I was the bottom rung piano player. Then my friend next to me was middle rung. And then the other lady that he preferred, her style of piano playing, she got the top rung. So was his analysis based upon fact and truth, or was it more based upon his preference and perceptions? More like his preference. But it was a label that he applied to me, bottom rung. And it was pretty devastating. I was hurt. Everyone was actually hurt. Even the one that was the top rung. She was hurt. She was just like, there's no way that this is right, that you label us and you categorize us. It's kind of ridiculous. And every time when I got up to play the piano, all I could hear was, you're just bottom rung. Do you think I really play the piano today? No, not really, because I'm just bottom rung. I don't measure up to someone else's standard, to someone else's perception. It was not based on fact or truth. It was not celebrating the differences of piano styles. There we go. Back to celebrating differences. Are they really that weak? Or can they actually be strength, our differences? Anyways, I'll get off topic on that one. But once an individual is labeled, then a stigma can develop. I had the stigma. I had the disgrace and the shame. And so it was very difficult for me to get up and see piano as anything different as me never measuring up to people's standards. Well, that lie of labeling, it often becomes the truth that people see about themselves. And eventually people will either give up like I did, or they'll live up to the labels that they have attached to themselves or that someone has attached to them. Why do people resort to negative labeling and passing these negative labels on to other people? Often they are projecting their own insecurities onto someone, because they feel inferior to, or it's a learned behavior, a defensive action of some kind. But no matter the reason, negative labeling placed upon a group of people can result in tribalism. So we see that today in America. One group is labeling another group, and that group is turning around and slapping labels on the other group, and it's just all out fighting and wars, and it's just based upon the need for elevation, the need for their rights to be heard. It was very interesting. I made this presentation briefly at a counselor camp, and one person came up to me and she's like, I get it, I understand this. Now, she says, as I counsel, we're counseling kids that they need to make their voices heard and their voices known. But the part that is missing is us teaching them that they need to also be listening to other people's voices. I said, that's exactly right. We always put so much emphasis on, you need to have a voice. You need to have your rights heard. Other people need to respect your rights. But what we're missing, though, is that it goes both ways. It doesn't go only one way. The person whose voice is being fought to be heard, they should also at the same time fighting to listen as well. Listen to other people. Listen to other people's views and other people's opinions, respecting other people's rights, But what we've got going on a lot in this country here is a lot of trying to take the rights of other people away and elevating a lot of different people groups in the process. But someone is always going to go down. It's going to happen. And that's what's wrong. It's destructive. It's negative labeling. Negative labeling can be applied to an individual, which can then hinder them from reaching their full potential and assist them in actual self-destructive behavior. So as an individual, how about let's change the way we label other people. If we are part of a, quote, tribe, a group, let's be respectful of another group. And while we're trying to fight for our voice to be heard, let's also fight for the right to listen as well. This is how we can come to the table and we can begin to collaborate, put our angst, our anger, our perceptions away, and just come to the table as an open book and just listen. And also voice your opinion as well, but listen and collaborate and go back and forth. It's amazing. I was in a meeting and we were trying to figure out a solution to something. And so I came up with an idea, and it was a fairly good idea. But then someone listened to it, but then they added their thoughts to it. And then that idea, which was a good idea, became an even better idea. And then someone else had another perception to the problem, and she could see a different side to it. And so she had her voice and shared her voice and added to it. And we all listened. And by the end of the meeting, we had a beautiful idea that would solve the problem. But it took several of us coming from different walks of life, different careers, different experiences, and being able to share those different perspectives on an idea to make it actually work and to actually solve an issue. But if we had all been, hey, well, this is my tribe and that's my tribe, and this, and my voice needs to be heard, not your voice, and just focused on putting negativity on everybody's ideas, we would have walked away from the table with no solutions. None at all. And I think that's what we see a lot in our country today. It's very little solutions because everyone's just fighting. Let's put it aside and let's come to the table and talk. That's what we're trying to teach our kids here at Trail Youth, is come to the table and talk. We collaborate on podcast ideas. The other day we had an amazing meeting of coming up with different topics that we can discuss throughout the year. And in the end, we ended up having, bringing out the box of tissues and just hearing each other out and being respectful of each other and our feelings and our experiences. And it was a bonding moment. It was wonderful because we all realized that we are uniquely human and that it's okay to be different. It's okay to admit to weaknesses and to strengths, and it's just beautiful when we can come to that point. There's no need to put a negative label on a group or on a person, but it's a lot more fun to come together as a group to support each other and to collaborate with each other and see something beautiful just transpire from it. So remember, we are uniquely human. Avoid putting negative labels on yourself. Do not put negative labels on other people. So join us for part 4, the side effects of negative labels.